All right. So I want to take a look at this post. I get people's optimism. I really do. When it comes to the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, but I wanted to talk about this one in particular. So this post is by Sikander. The hidden game in Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, in my opinion, is Mortal Kombat 9. Now, this is based on an old 2022 post by Ed Boon that says it's scary that it's been long enough that we could legitimately do an MK9 remaster. Now, maybe this is Ed Boon telling on his future self about the fact that we may end up getting an MK9 remaster at some point. But to have it in the collection, I think would be. I don't think it would work, to be perfectly honest. I think that people have to remember, like, so we gotta go by the facts that what we've been given, right? When it comes to the trailer, right? The trailer specifically showcases just legacy gameplay, in terms of like 2D legacy gameplay. It doesn't show any 3D legacy gameplay. It doesn't show any MK versus DC. It doesn't show any MK9. Even though MK9 is a love letter to the 2D legacy of Mortal Kombat, we have to remember that, like, I don't think that they would put it in here. If they did, I think all of us would lose our collective minds more than we all already have for the people that were super excited about this collection. I don't see them doing it. What I see them doing is what the pathway that they've now established for themselves. Once this game comes out, right, and in my opinion, once they confirm the true last games that are going to be coming out for the collection, right, that will absolutely be the foundation of what we get next. Right, and I really hope that my long-standing theory, which has partially come true, will be that. Is that the next collection will be a 3D era collection. After that, we will definitely get an MK vs DC and an MK9 collection, like essentially a dual release at the same time. You do that because I don't think anyone's really going to run out there and buy an MK vs DC remaster. I know some people will say, "Oh, but I really liked it." Yeah, but we're talking about effort versus sales. Like, I mean, are they really going to put in all that effort and then, you know, they get a minimal amount of sales, right? Because it is a remaster of an old game. There's no guarantee it's going to sell, right? Like, you know, like how the old games, like the old original release would have. So if the old release sold maybe 1 million, this might only sell 20,000 because people are like, nah, I've already played this before. You know, only diehard fans would buy it. So what you do is you bundle it with MK9. Now, MK9 technically is a remastered version, if you want to call it that, but it's not really. The PC version of MK9 is pretty amazing, right? It's the best graphics out there. The only downside is that it's still using the console, the FMVs, like the video, like the story cinematics. That is just, yeah, the quality of that is terrible. What they need to do is make it so that we can have access to at least 1080p or 4K versions of those. And that's it. If you did that for the PC version, you could literally take the PC version and make that the remaster. Like, that would absolutely legitimately be the remaster for it. So that's what I would do. But I know why people want it in there, because MK9 is such an amazing, like, it is such an amazing game. You know, it really is. I know, obviously, it has, you know, certain issues and stuff, and they may patch that out. Right? They could patch that sort of stuff out in the modern day and go, yeah, we're not having, you know, certain infinites in there, or basically touch of death type combos, if you will. So they could get rid of that sort of stuff that I know that the pro scene have mentioned over the years about, you know, saying that, well, MK9 is not perfect. But as far as a Mortal Kombat game, right, as far as a Mortal Kombat game, it is perfect, right? Almost perfect. Yeah, it's almost perfect, but yeah, it's nigh on perfect, right? Because it delivered. It was the same sort of level of excitement that we got when we first started seeing these old games come out back in the day, right? That's why I was so excited when they announced the Legacy Collection, not just because we're getting these old games, but because it's them making a statement of recognizing their past, realizing the past will fix the future, because this is how you get excitement back into Mortal Kombat again. You have to go back to the past. You have to show people what we have, how great that we had it, right? 100%. So I'm not, I like, on one hand, it would be very cool, you know, if what Sikander is saying is you know, could be a thing, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to happen. As much as people want it, as much as I'd like it, because I think when they do that, it's going to be a big deal. Like, it's going to be a big. This was a big deal. This was a big deal, right? Look at everyone is talking about Mortal Kombat again, but not the new one. You wouldn't even know Mortal Kombat 1 is out or just finished. Like, you know, it's run. MK1 is dead. Long live MK1. The true MK1, right? And the reason for that is simple. Because this is the true Mortal Kombat. This is the real Mortal Kombat, right? This is what we grew up, well, at least my generation, this is what we grew up on. You know, and then the 3D era was the next generation that grew up on those and started their MK journey with that. So I really don't think it'll be in there, because they'll make a big hullabaloo about it. They will go to town on the remaster of MK9, put in MK vs DC, and you're done. That's it. You've literally covered everything great about Mortal Kombat in the modern day, all with rollback netcode, and perfect, absolutely perfect. Okay. I still stand by my statement that the remaining games that will be revealed will be Trilogy, 2 versions of it, MK Gold, there's 2 more question marks, and those question marks will be MK Mythologies and Mortal Kombat Special Forces. And while people may or may not be fans of those 2 last games, it's part of the Legacy Collection. I do get comments, right, from people going, nobody's going to buy these old games, nobody's going to play these old games. Right, and I do want to cover this in depth in another video, but I'd just like to point out that we didn't have arcade perfect ports. You have to understand that when it came to a fighting game, the arcade was the perfect port. It was the original. And everything that we had out at the time, console-wise, was not able to give us that arcade perfect port. So what we had at the time was trying to find the closest that we could get to arcade perfection in whatever console that we had out at the time. And that was amazing. Like, it truly was. It was absolutely amazing. And people don't understand the hype and the excitement of, you know, getting your version of the game, right? So if you're an MK2 fan, whether it be on SNES or Mega Drive or Genesis, you know, waiting to get that home and going, oh, you know, I wonder how close this is going to be. I've seen the reviews in the magazines and stuff. Now we get to play with it, you know, for real. And you'll notice things. If you're a massive fan of MK, you'd notice immediately things like missing voices and stuff in the Genesis or Mega Drive version that the SNES had. But you'll notice that the Genesis or Mega Drive version had tighter and accurate arcade gameplay over the SNES. So, you know, these were the comparisons that we would make and talk about with our friends back in high school about who had the better version, you know. And yeah, I mean, that was just, it was, there was a level of excitement and nostalgia around the different ports that we were able to get on whatever console that we had. But I'll go more into depth with that in another video, because I'd really like to showcase some stuff on that, you know, to sort of like back up my statement. But yeah, I don't think it'll be in there. Again, the trailer really is speaking for itself. It's showing all 2D gameplay. The name is Legacy, right? So that's also a bit of a giveaway as well. If you look at all the pictures, when it's zooming, you know, when it's all zooming out, you know, and if you slow that right down to a quarter speed, you'll see that there's not even a hint of anything outside of, you know, like 3D era or MK vs DC / MK9. It's all 2D. 2D era. And I know that would be disappointing for some people not to get some of the 3D era later games in there. But that also should give you excitement too. Because that means that we will be getting that stuff down the track. Almost guaranteed. Right? Because this thing is going to sell really well. I'm going to pimp the fuck out of this. 100%. It's going to sell really well. Right? People are going to love playing it. Because people play on Fightcade every day. Right? In the hundreds upon hundreds of people on Fightcade across a whole host of other games, including Mortal Kombat. The classic Mortal Kombat games. So I can guarantee you that that this is going to do very well. And then when they announce the 3D era collection, that's probably going to sell even more, right? Because it'll be the first time in forever that we've actually had the 3D era games show up on any sort of modern console since the PS2 days. That's a long time. That's a really, really long time. And they are going to that's going to be a big one. That's going to be a big one. So, anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Catch you next time.